She-Ra, princess of power. She-Ra, She-Ra.
I don't have any explanation for why I do the things I do. Hello, Champagne Dreamers! Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll stick around, hit that subscribe button, and become part of the family. My name is Miss Janessa Jaye Champagne, and I am North Dakota's trash queen of glam, geek, and gore. And today we are going to geek out about one of my favorite shows that has come out in the last few years. During the pandy, when we were all streaming and getting caught up on all kinds of new things, I discovered a remake of She-Ra that I absolutely love, and we are going to talk about why. I love classic She-Ra, I love new She-Ra, but I just think this is a lot of fun. If you're ready to talk about the new She-Ra, then stick around because we're getting into it right now.
It won't go away. I've got that feeling rushing through my body. I know that it is here to stay. It's like you're my personal Illuminati. I know that some might say that I am just a bad girl, but if you treat me right, I will be the best girl in this whole world. No, I'm not gonna fight.
Yes, there is a new She-Ra. It's been around for a few years now. It was created for the Netflix streaming service by Noelle Stevenson, and I love it. I have watched it through several times. I usually make these videos about horror films, and I do love me some horror films, but I love this new She-Ra, and I love it for many reasons. We're going to talk about all of them in this video. So if you've never seen She-Ra before, if you don't know what She-Ra is, I don't know how, especially if you were a child of the 80s. In 1982, Mattel released a toy line called Masters of the Universe, which had He-Man. In 1985, they decided to do a girls' line called She-Ra. She-Ra was He-Man's sister. They created a whole line of toys and play sets and action figures and all that kind of stuff. They were both really successful toy lines in the 80s, and there's been different iterations. There's been comic books, and people have written fan fiction. Lots of fan fiction. But now there is a new version of She-Ra, and I love it because it's still very much a kid's show, and it takes the best of that original She-Ra and it really transports it to a modern audience. And it's very age appropriate for kids, but it doesn't dumb it down. That's one of the things about the kid shows from the 80s. When I watch them back now, there's a little bit of dumbing it down, making it a little bit simpler, a little bit more saccharine. There's a lot of moral lessons. There's a lot of hug and cry and learn and grow. And there's bits of that in this new She-Ra, of course. They are all about the best friend squad, and there's lots of things about friendship. But there's also heavier moments. You know, one of the characters loses somebody in her life. Somebody dies. And in the next season, then you see her kind of going through the grieving process, and you see how that affects her, and you see the friendships between the main characters really grow and mature, and it's very different from the very first episode to the very last episode. So there's kind of a maturing of the series as the characters themselves start to mature and grow and learn more and experience more in the world. So I love it. Hello, She-Ra fans! Trivia time. Just popping in here to ask you a little question. If you have watched the new She-Ra, I have a question for you. Which three princesses from the classic Mattel toy line never appear, really, in the new She-Ra cartoon? Let me know down in the comments who the three princesses are, and I'll let you know later on in the video. One of the things that I think it really does well is that if you are interested in looking at how shows handle diversity, how do they tackle diversity, this show is a masterclass. And in some ways, it handles it very much the way that Schitt's Creek did. So if you liked Schitt's Creek and you liked that kind of warm, fuzzy world, that's what this new She-Ra series does. There's just diversity in the world, and that's just a fact, and it's just something that happens. We never have to talk about it. We never have to talk about it being a problem or it being a challenge. So basically you have She-Ra and then you have the princesses of power. So another thing that it does interestingly is it looks at power dynamics and it spreads the power so that it's not just She-Ra, but there are also these magical princesses that have different abilities and powers, and they're the classic characters like Perfuma and Mermista and all different kinds of characters that show up. So the princesses of power and She-Ra they all really just exist in this world where diversity is. So the princesses and the characters that you see just are different shapes and sizes and skin colors, and they have different attractions. Two of the princesses, Spinnerella and Natasha, are in a relationship, and it's never presented as like, oh, did you know these two princesses are together? It's just like, oh, this is my wife Natasha. You know, it's just kind of, they put it out there. One of the characters is Beau, and Beau, when he goes back to visit his family, you find out he has two dads. And again, it's not anything that is like, oh, we have to talk about this, or none of the characters are like, oh, two dads, what's that about? You know, we don't have to pretend that stupid shit anymore. They're just like, we live in a world where there's all different kinds of people, and either get on board with it or get the fuck out. And that's what I love. I love that they just are like, diversity just exists, and the only person who might have a problem with it is you, the viewer. Nobody in this world is going to say anything. Nobody's going to question it. If there's a gay person, if there's a queer person, if there's a non-binary person, as we get in through the series, then there's another character that pops up named Double Trouble, who was a character from the original toy line that had a reversible face because she was actually part of the evil horde, but she was spying on the rebellion for them, and so she had a face that would twist in her helmet, and she either looked kind of pretty, and then you could turn it around and she looked still kind of pretty, but with purple eyeshadow, like, oh, evil. And so she's very much transformed into a new character who has this kind of lizard-like appearance and is non-binary and is played by a non-binary actor, just exists and can become all of these other characters. So instead of just pretending to be part of the rebellion, they're actually a shapeshifter. And so they infiltrate and spy and do espionage. And it's really, really interesting. It's such an interesting way to portray that character. Hello, it's me again. Remember that trivia question I asked you earlier? Now, some of you, if you watch the show, you might be like, hey, there was only one princess who didn't appear. There were two princesses who appeared, but they weren't actually truly themselves. They might have been played by another character. Who were they? And who's the one princess who didn't appear at all except as a brief mention in one of the planning meetings? Let me know in the comments below. And beyond just the diversity, I love the complexity of the characters. So they allow characters to redeem themselves. Most of the characters, even the evil characters, have a moment where they get to show that they can make a better choice, that they can do the right thing instead of choosing the wrong thing over and over and over again. And so almost every character in the show has that moment where they get a chance to redeem themselves. Because we live in a world where sometimes if somebody does something wrong, there are some people who are never going to forgive that person. They're never going to forgive, no matter how many times they apologize, no matter what they do to try to make it right. There are some people out there that seem to believe that there are just bad people. And I don't believe that. This is my kind of philosophy about the world. I don't believe that there are bad people. I also don't believe that there are good people. I believe that people are just people, and we make choices all the time. And sometimes our choices contribute to the greater good, and sometimes they don't contribute to the greater good. But that doesn't mean that somebody who pretty consistently is choosing bad things can't make good choices, can't turn and start choosing other things. Because if we try to pretend that there's good people and bad people, then it doesn't allow for that change. So then why would somebody in that position ever want to change? Why would they try to change? Because everybody's just going to tell them, well, you're a bad person. You've always been a bad person. You're always going to be a bad person. And so you really get to see people grow and evolve. And another thing that they do is that one of the characters is really kind of an interesting sort of play on a neurodivergent person. So one of the princesses in Trapta, in the original series, she was part of the Horde. She was an evil character. And in this series, she starts with the rebellion and she ends up with the Horde. And the way that she's portrayed is clearly meant to be somebody who is on the spectrum. Now, they never talk about it this way. They never present it this way. But the sort of definition of her character is that she is somebody who has trouble relating to people. She doesn't really understand emotions the same way that everybody else does. Not that she doesn't have them, not that she doesn't feel them, but she has trouble understanding everybody else's emotional cues. What she understands is science and technology and robots. And so she goes on a mission with the rebellion, and she ends up getting separated from them, and they think that she's dead. So there's something that happens that makes them think that she has died. She's now in Horde territory, and they kind of sort of take her prisoner, but then they realize she's good with tech, and they give her all of this tech. And to her, that's like, oh, these people are friends. They gave me tech. Let me work on this tech. And she didn't necessarily understand that what she was building was being used against her other friends in the rebellion. She's just so excited, and they seem to appreciate her, and they seem to appreciate what she can do. And she's like helping them understand how science works, because Hordak, if something doesn't work the first time, he gets outraged and is sending people to prison and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, hey, you have to experiment. You have to try things. And so she integrates into both of these groups in really interesting ways. So you get to see this perspective of somebody who doesn't relate emotionally the same way as the other group of characters, but she's still a good friend, and she's still a good person, and she still has things to teach the other people about how to relate to people and how to show kindness and compassion that isn't the ways that they are used to. And I just think it's so well done and so well handled, and it's just really beautiful to watch and to see that character develop throughout the course of the show. Yet another reason that I love this show is that it's such a great series filled with lore that's really interesting. So they've created this world of science and technology with fantasy, and I love that. I love sci-fi. I love fantasy stuff like Game of Thrones, but I also really love things that try to blend them, where it's got fantasy elements and it's got sci-fi elements that have to coexist together. And so they build in all of this backstory about who She-Ra is. She's actually related to this group that they call the First Ones, who left behind all of this mysterious tech. And since then, magic has kind of taken over, and it's the dominant force in the world. And so you have these princesses who have these connections to their gemstones, their rune stones. And through that, then they're able to create these different powers and different magic and things like that. And so it's really great to see that melding of science and technology and magic and fantasy all together. It's so well done. And the way that they build it out, it really does leave the door open for further expansion, because She-Ra obviously is supposed to be the sister of He-Man, and Kevin Smith is over at Netflix. He's revamping and redoing and rebooting all of the He-Man stuff as well. And I don't know, I watched the first one they did, and I think he's done 2 more since then. So I don't know if he has tried to bring in She-Ra at all as a character, but it definitely leaves the door open on the She-Ra side for there to be some exploration of this other planet, Eternia. She-Ra is on Etheria, and so it really leaves the door open for them to explore connections to this other world if they wanted to, this other franchise property that's related. And I just love the way that they meld it together, the way the magic makes the technology work, and sometimes you need the technology to fix something that's going wrong with the magic, and it's just really well done. It's just so creative and so well plotted. I just can't get over how good this show is. It's definitely a kid's show. It's definitely like, let's smile and be friends and play jokes on each other, and there's a lot of that, but there's also serious story along with that. And it reminds you that when there are things like war, when there are conflicts and all these other things, children are still children. And so they have very important responsibilities. They're trying to fight this very important rebellion, but they're also still kids, and they still get to be kids. And they get to be kids who grow up around this conflict. And I think it's really beautiful. I think it's really healing. Just like Schitt's Creek is healing, to see these diverse people get to just interact with the environment, not have to be challenged for their identities, and really be able to be children while also navigating a complex, dynamic, interesting, sometimes painful world. Plus, it has a really great theme song. I'm not going to roll the clip because I'd get a copyright strike, but just trust me, it's good.
Why don't you sing it?
Why don't I sing it?
Why don't you sing a version of it?
We're on the edge of greatness, bringing darkness to light. We're right beside you, ready to fight. We're gonna win in the end. We must be strong. We must be brave. We must be brave. Never let it go. I don't remember all of it. We must be strong.
How is that for your ear holes? So I know we usually talk about horror on this channel, but I wanted to geek out about this show. I hope you like it, and I hope you check it out. Mama Champagne even said that she was maybe going to check it out. I was gushing. I recently rewatched it again, and I was gushing to her about how much I love this show and how good it is. And she's like, I might check it out. I'm retired. I got time to do shit, so let me check it out. Let me try it out. She might not stick with it, let's be real. But I just love it. I think it's a lot of fun. All right, She-Ra fans, it's time for our trivia answer. If you are an eagle-eyed She-Ra and the Princesses of Power viewer, you know that 3 princesses from the classic Mattel line did not appear in the new show. Peekaboo and Flutterina. Now, those are the ones that were in the show, kind of, but they were both disguises used by Double Trouble. So we didn't get a separate character, Peekaboo or Flutterina. We got Prince Peekaboo and Flutterina being in disguise Double Trouble. Now, the one who didn't appear at all except as a brief mention in a strategy meeting was Sweet Bee. Mermista was laying out how the princesses knew each other and their relationships, and she did mention Sweet Bee by name, but we never got to see her in the show. So, how did you do? Did you get the right answer? Let me know down in the comments below. So that's the video. Just a quick fun one talking about one of my favorite shows that I discovered during the pandy. And I think that you will love it too. If you love sci-fi, fantasy, magic meets technology, all that kind of stuff. Yes, there are definitely kid type things in it. It's a kid show, and it's clearly a kid show. It's not like Bob's Burgers or something where it's definitely like adult animation. It's definitely a kid show, but it's something that adults can find stuff in, and you can really enjoy it. And there is some depth to it while still being appropriate for children. So that is the video. Let me know down below what you think of this video. If you've watched She-Ra, let me know your favorite character. Let me know your favorite character transition, the different like reimaginings of the characters. Mine is Scorpia. I love what they did with Scorpia. I think she's so interesting, and I loved her kind of redemption arc at the end. Oh, I love it. I think she's so cool. She's my favorite. But let me know down in the comments below what you think. While you're down there, don't forget that you can give me that thumbs up to tell me you appreciated this video. And if you like the original She-Ra and you were like, where's my She-Ra with big boobies and a short skirt? Then you can, you know what? Give me that thumbs down. It is all engagement. The algorithm isn't a picky bitch, and neither am I. Why doesn't She-Ra have big boobies no more? And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified of all future uploads. I try really hard to have at least one video a week. And sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're very lucky, you might even get a bonus video. Ooh, She-Ra, tastic. If you'd like to chat, banter, or commiserate between uploads, all of my social media will be linked down in the description box below, including a link to my website, The World of Champagne, at JanessaJ.com. Thank you so much for watching. I love and appreciate all of you, and I love this new She-Ra. They gave it a pretty definitive ending, but if they decide to bring it back or link it to He-Man, whatever Noelle Stevenson does in the future, I'm here for it. So I love it, and I hope you love it too. And until I see you again, bye.
I mean, I guess you'll explain why you're singing that, but.
Because it's a video about She-Ra.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was confused because you have your makeup with you.
Oh, but no, the notebook was in there too that had my notes.
Oh,
so this makeup will be for a video, but this is...
Okay, I'm like, okay, well that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so the new She-Ra is a series that was directed for television. So then, okay. The new She-Ra is... Oh, okay. And they created a line...
Sorry, could you tell it surprised me? Because this is Facebook, and usually I don't have any sounds. I apologize. Continue talking about She-Ra.
Don't give me that look, because one thing you may not remember from the last time we filmed is that it went off like twice.
No, it wasn't my phone. Well, it was my phone. But it's that my notifications and everything are off. When I look at Facebook, what I do is I turn the, you know how you have that little button at the bottom right to not have volume playing.
No, I know what you're talking about. All I know is that it happened twice, and I'd like it to not happen again.
But I'm trying to explain myself here, and you're like, media volume stuff is separate. And I'm like, I fucking know what you're talking about.
Because
I'm
it
trying to
is. Sometimes you
explain
have to be
myself.
on something that's playing and then turn down. That's how Instagram stories are too.
No, I fucking understand that part. I'm talking about this part here.
Nobody's talking to you anymore.
You just talked to me right now. God damn it.
Now, She-Ra is He-Man's sister. I said that. We got Peekaboo and Futter. We got Prince Peacock. Fuck. All right, She-Ra fans. Oh.